Are landlords discriminating against people with disabilities? Are they bad landlords? Hmm, that is a big question of the day. I mean, why would there be bad landlords? I mean, are there good landlords? Of course, there's good landlords, but there's also bad landlords, and they discriminate against people with disabilities on disability assistance. Stay tuned as I'll be talking more about this topic next. It's a real hot topic, affects everybody in many ways. Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to PWD Allies podcast. My name is Brent Frain. I'm the host, brought to you by Victoria, British Columbia, the capital region here. Nice sunny day, about 20 degrees today. That's what it's going to get to. Almost feels like a summer day. But hey, here's the thing. Today is the first day of fall, technically at 11:36 a.m. That's right, 11:36 a.m. It would be technically fall. It won't feel like that today. It's great. It's going to be a nice sunny week and then back to traditional fall weather next weekend. I'm hoping that next Saturday, the 27th, will not be raining, but the forecast looks like there possibly could be 40% showers that day. And why am I saying that? Because there's two special birthdays that day. Sonia's birthday is that day, and my birthday is that day. 2 different years, same day.
Yeah, and remember yesterday was the 21st, and so I put out that do you remember
Yeah,
the
yes.
21st night of September?
I love
We're
that video.
dancing the night away. So I can't sing it anymore because it's past time, but anyway.
But yeah, it's great. It's a great video, and I have Neil joining us. Neil is from the Neil is from, because you are from, yeah, from Surrey, British Columbia, Newton area, and he's my editor producer. And we have lots of fun, everybody, on the show. We make it things serious, but we also have lots of fun and basically get our audience to kind of participate with us and through the our chat session there and comments. And if you love the content, please like and subscribe and share.
Share it out, yeah.
It really helps our channel grow a lot. And
Yeah.
you know,
I
I
always say, and like maybe it's true and maybe it's not. I mean, YouTube will say it's not true, but I always feel like the algorithm is like it punishes channels that are trying to do advocacy.
yeah,
I don't know. It just seems like
it
it.
seems
Like
that way. Yeah,
maybe it's not, but it's like, we've been at this for what has it been like 2.5 years now, and it's a hard slug, to
oh, it is.
to get it out there, and that's why we kind of try to package it up. I try to make it sexy and I try to make it cute, like
Yeah, yeah,
cute, either
yeah.
sexy, cute, and clickable, right? But it's a hard sell because, like I said on the last podcast, is that disability isn't really sexy, right? So it's
Mhm.
like, it's a hard sell sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, and it depends on what people are looking for in the content. I mean, what affects their lives in so many ways. Is it affordability? I mean, I don't know who doesn't affect on affordability. I mean, it's like housing, cost of living, groceries, you name it. I mean, but one way to brighten people's day is just remember, these mugs here. Yeah, I mean, one could be yours one day. Yeah, I mean, and here's the other
Yeah,
side.
well, I think we should try to aim maybe to make it available for Christmas. Maybe we'll try to aim for
Yeah.
that.
See these
Yeah.
mugs. See on this side here, it's got a picture of a wheelchair. Yeah, and then our logo there. And on the other side of the mug, it's the PWD Allies logo here.
And
And
like I said,
yeah, and you can grip
that
on it really well here too. Yeah,
it came from my brain,
yes.
but at the same time, it was Birdie that crawled inside my brain and
Yes.
made sense of it, and she put it on the paper. So it was a combined effort. Like I'm not artistic at all, so I was just trying to explain to her, okay, this is kind of what I have in mind, and she's like
Mhm.
crawled inside my brain, and she says, "Is this what you want?" I'm like, "Yes."
Yes. So,
Yeah.
so
So so
Bernie's the
we're
mastermind behind that mug.
Birdie's the mastermind behind the logo. Yeah.
And then it came to be because Trisha she went and made these mugs.
Yeah.
Like I say,
Super fan Trisha, yeah.
yeah, and it's really easy to grab onto. Like it's just I find it really awesome just to hold on to. And it keeps the beverage hot. Like you can put like just hot water in here. You could put honey and tea. You can put hot chocolate if you love hot chocolate, coffee. There's no coffee in here right now. But yeah, I mean it's nice and hot.
Hmm.
Got hot water. But yeah, it's great. But when I talk about affordability, like that's what today's show is all going to be about. It's going to be about bad landlords and about affordable housing. Um, first off, please subscribe to the podcast too if you don't get a chance to listen, watch it live, because we just dive right into the whole thing and then just listen to it on the
Well,
way.
I was gonna say that today is kind of like a part two, but in a way it's
Yeah.
kind of like a part three because you kind of
Hmm.
wanted to build off on our show on Friday, but
Yeah.
really it's also building off our show because I mean on Friday's show we had MJ on
Hmm.
talking about her petition all about housing, right?
Yep.
But the show last Monday was all about the numbers, and again it was basically about the social assistance numbers and how that affects in comparison with the housing prices or the rent prices,
Hmm.
right? So this is kind of almost like a part three.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
This is a kind of a good piggyback off of each one. And as we piggyback more, it goes higher and higher. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like rents, they go higher and higher.
Yeah.
And so and apparently we have deer outside right now. But yeah, it's always enjoyable to get the morning going when you
Maybe
see.
they want to be on the podcast.
Maybe they want to come on to the podcast. I should maybe invite them into the building here. No animals. We're not allowed to have animals inside the building. You can't, even if you have a pet deposit. I mean, that'd be a big pet deposit on that one.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be evicted. Yeah, I'd be evicted out.
Hey,
And yeah,
could save one for Christmas.
yeah, yeah,
Call him Rudolph.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because your nose so bright.
Anyway, we're already
Yeah,
getting sidetracked, Brent.
yeah.
So
So when we talk about evicted about animals, though, I mean these are wild animals. I mean they're cute, they're cuddly. I wouldn't want to cuddle a deer, but uh, yeah, about eviction, though. I mean, with all seriousness,
hmm.
if you're renting somewhere and your management company doesn't allow you to have pets, don't try to get a pet in because you will be evicted. I've
Hmm.
witnessed it, I've heard it, and I feel sorry for the tenants who do want to have pets because they're part of family. Like they are family in so many ways, and I get it. Um, where
We
I
just
know,
we just had a comment from sorry,
yeah,
Brent, but we just had a comment from Inga Klaus saying she has a service dog and finding housing is really hard, she says.
it is very, very hard.
Yeah.
And I find that some management companies are discriminatory against having service dogs. That should not nobody should be discriminated from having a service dog in their building. Because I mean it's first of all, I mean it's a family pet for one thing. It's
Hmm.
your accessibility partner, right? It's
Yeah.
part of you.
Yeah.
And that service dog actually will help navigate you through a lot of different scenarios in life.
Hmm.
And I think it's just a narrative that the property management companies, they just have, I don't know, maybe some of them are ableist or something. I don't know. Like they're stuck in that status quo that, well, we don't need to have service dogs or any kind of service animals. I mean, should we say, because it's not just dogs. I mean, there's a lot of different animals that people will have as service, service pets.
Hmm.
But yeah, getting back to Inga, like I love your comment on that because yeah, it's so true that it should be just a normal standard right across the board. Like I mean, having a responsibility like for like a tenant as a responsible tenant, making sure that the dog or your pet, your service pet, is well taken care of, which they are. But it comes down to they should be like I guess my point is it shouldn't be any discriminatory against that. people want to have a pet, they should be able to have a pet, as long as it doesn't go poo poo in the hallways or anywhere else, right? I mean, accidents do happen, and you just clean up after. You just clean up right away. Um, because I remember once upon a time there was buildings where I would rent from, and there was pets inside. Yeah, no problem. One dog scared the hell out of me. I was taking garbage out, and I came up a stairwell, and this person was coming out with this big giant dog. It was coming down, and here's thump 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 thump. I just jumped. I mean, that was isolated, but I mean, oh, it was a friendly dog, but it was intimidated because it was a huge dog.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, wow, like this is I thought maybe a vicious dog. No, pets are pets. So people should be able to have pets inside their buildings. And I find that a lot of new builds now, they're expensive. They're expensive new builds, and they're built a lot smaller. But they are allowing pets now in on usually on the first floor or the second floor of the building, which is really great. Because I mean, why not? I mean, uh, family friendly oriented buildings. But we talk about bad landlords because when I say bad landlords, there are bad landlords that will evict people just for having a service dog or a service pet. They'll find, or if you have a pet, maybe you're grandfathered into a building, and these policies were not implemented in when you first signed your lease agreement. New tenants coming in, they'll say, "Oh, no, no pets allowed." Well, now you have a pet in the building. Well, if you have a new management that took over the building,
Yeah.
maybe your property, the owner, maybe the company still owns it, but you have new management that took over.
Mhm.
I've heard that some of the management will say, "Well, no, there's no pets allowed." Well, I've been in here for X amount of years. Well, I need to see your lease agreement. I need to see your agreement that actually states how long you've been in here. Well, I mean, maybe it's filed away somewhere and they can't find it. They've been there for a long time. I mean, maybe they can't find it. But now you're having to prove yourself. You're having to prove why you need to have that service animal.
Well, and but then it kind of spills over to the second point, which is like some landlords will consider you and Sonia like higher risk because it's like, well, if they know that you're on provincial assistance, it's like, well, can you really afford to live here?
Well,
Like,
that's
and can I trust that you're gonna be able to pay every month?
yeah.
Like,
Well,
they're gonna say, well, do I really want to take on that risk
mhm,
of somebody that's basically getting poverty wages to begin with?
mhm.
Uh, do I want to take that risk on as a landlord, right?
Yeah, and I'll give you a good example on that part where I've told the story many times, but for people who are just tuning into the podcast now, and I will continue keep saying the same story and hammering the point home on that is, yeah, for people just tuning in now, listen to the podcast version. We lived in Langley. I grew up in Langley, so I'll tell you a little story on that. Is I grew up in Langley since I was just a little baby, and then toddler, and not knowing how the government would work going forward, thinking everything's all great. I mean, British Columbia, beautiful province, Canada, beautiful country. You take care of your citizens. My mom always believed that yeah, they're going to take care of people because that's the responsible thing to do. Yeah, don't worry about it. I mean, BC, they have a disability pension. Oh, well, I don't need that, Mom. I'm working full time. Right, but you're going to find in time that you're not going to be able to do that kind of work anymore. Oh, yeah, I can do it. I can do it. Brent, you're
Yeah.
going to find that later in life, you're not going to be able to, based on obstacles with the disabilities, as you're going to get more disabilities, or they're going to start enhancing the disabilities that you have.
Right.
And so I used to have a big argument about that. And I'd be looking at articles in the newspaper, classified ads, rentals. And I said, well, wouldn't that be a neat place to live? Well, deja vu on that one, right? Because in order to fast forward, I ride my bike right by a building that I ended up renting from. I never thought I'd be renting at that building. Oh, looks like an interesting building. So I rented from the building. And over time, things progressed. Situations like change where you need to move on from where you're living, either employment wise, opportunity wise. I had great opportunity working for different sectors. I mean, hospitality, warehousing work, office administration work, working for the provincial government. Yeah, I mean,
That's
I
me
worked for
too.
the
Yeah.
yeah, And I mean, lots of great opportunities. And I look at the wage of what I made in different times, and I kind of reflect back every once in a while, and I say, wow, I made that kind of money, and I was
Yeah.
able to buy. I mean, no joke. Like when I was working for the provincial government, I was able to help my mom out a lot, and she argued with me, no, Brent, no, I don't need that. It's your money, but I want to help you out. I want to help you out. I said, because times were tough, but the money you could actually get more value for your dollar back,
Oh, yeah, big time.
way more. And so I would,
And I said, like I've said before, like I started with the provincial government myself. I think it was 1999, or it could have been at the tail end of
Mhm.
98. I kind of forget. I think it was 99 though.
Yeah.
And my starting wage is like fresh off the boat, didn't know a thing. Starting wage was like 25, 26 bucks an hour
Hmm.
in nine. I mean, and now like 20, 25, 26 bucks an hour is considered like that's a fabulous wage now. And
Oh, yeah.
and it's just crazy how the wages have really come down, but the expense, the cost of living is just,
Yeah. Well,
there's no comparison now.
I started at 1754, and then they were so impressed they gave me a raise, and I got to $23, 23.76, I think it was an hour.
Hmm.
Like, wow. And I mean, full time, Monday to Friday. I had the mandatory breaks. I had 4 15-minute breaks, and yeah, I had an hour and a half for lunch. Like, I wanted to keep working. Like I was getting bored because
You know what I loved? I love getting the flex days every 2 weeks to get a
yeah,
flex
yeah,
day.
yeah, me too. I get the Friday off.
A free day off every couple of weeks.
Yeah,
Because you they would you'd work an extra, what was it, 45 minutes a day,
yeah,
and then so you'd end up banking that 45
yeah.
minutes, and then work out to one full day every 2 weeks.
Oh, exactly.
And
And it
yeah, it was
worked out
great.
well.
Loved it.
But yeah, and then I look back at different scenarios of the value for a dollar, and I was able to help my mom buy things around her house that she needed to get fixed up, and saved up. She was able to go on holiday. I actually was able to help her do that.
Mhm.
It was so rewarding in so many ways of being able to buy healthy food. Like, I mean, she was, she bought healthy food and, the best way she could. She provided, wholesome, meals for me and my brother. But times were getting tough, but I was making good money. I was making more than she was, and she had a lot more
Mhm.
experience than I did. My mom said, well, eventually these jobs, that kind of work is going to come to an end, Brent.
Mhm.
So you just try to dogpile it away, try to, you know, basically just be responsible and, yeah, just keep throwing it in away. And so I did. And I'm going back to the same kind of work that I was doing before. I mean, wow, it was the difference between daytime and nighttime
Mhm.
of wow, that's all I'm getting paid. That's all my worth is. And
Yeah.
I then got on the disability. And when I got on the disability, I fought because I didn't want to get onto it. And then I was told, well, it's a pension. Well, I mean, like I
Well,
said,
yeah, and you briefly touched on that at the beginning.
yeah,
You talked about the pension, and
yeah,
that's kind of one thing I wanted to jump off on, Brent, is like we always talk about going and getting to the DeLorean and going back in time,
yeah.
and I tell you, if I could go back in time to around 1990 when disability pensions were still a thing, I would do that, and I would apply for it because I was the same as you.
Yeah.
I don't need that. Like,
Yeah.
and I didn't at the time, but like if I had just applied anyway,
Hmm.
I would have been grandfathered in, and that's extra money that would have come in handy. The other thing is that if I could go back in time, back to when my wife, my first wife, first passed away,
Hmm.
I would deliberately lie. If I had to do it, if I had to do it again, I would deliberately lie about me having a pension. I
Hmm.
wouldn't tell them anything about it, and I would see if they would find out about it. I would actually lie about it because when you tell the truth about something, I'm a big truther, right? I always talk about the truth, but the government doesn't like the truth, right? The government doesn't like the truth. So if the government doesn't like the truth, why should I like the truth? Right? So I should have lied. I should have lied and said I don't have a pension. I don't have a survivor's pension. I should have lied, and then they would have never found out about it, and I would have been like I would have been at least like maybe 75 to $80,000 richer now. 12 years later, I would have had $80,000 more in my bank account,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Because I was stupid enough to tell the truth. I was stupid enough to tell the truth, Brent. So I should have lied. I should have lied. That's a stupid thing about policies. The government doesn't care about truth. They can lie, and they want us to tell the truth. But the fact of the matter is, I should have lied. If I had lied, I
Mhm.
would be $80,000 or more richer now today.
Yeah, and that, that's the thing that the government always says, well, let us know your situation because
Yeah,
yeah, I mean you gotta be putting it all up front. I mean, show much how many cents you have in your pocket, throw on
yeah.
the desk.
So the government basically forces you to lie.
Yeah.
They force you to lie about your if you're married or not.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
as soon as they find out you're married, they're like, oh, we'll punish you now. We'll punish
Yeah.
you now that you're married. Now that we know you're married, we'll punish you for this. We'll punish you for that. Like tell us the truth. Tell us the truth, but they're going to punish you for it.
Hmm. And that,
So
and I guess
so
that
I
kind of bounces to
yeah.
who are the bad landlords? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that
Yeah,
was my point. That was my whole
yeah,
point. Is like I'm gonna point the finger at the government
yeah,
and say
yeah.
that they are the
They are the
worst
bad landlords.
landlord of all.
Yeah, because
They're number one honcho bad landlord.
yeah, because
They're the ones.
it actually, I was listening to a news broadcast, and I was just doing some homework, reading up about bad landlords, and talking with people in my community. One of them was it used to be a residential manager at a property at one time. I said, "Oh, really?" I said, "Yeah." We were talking like, "What did you used to do?" And oh, I was. He says, "I was one of those badass managers." That's what he said. I was one of those badass managers, and I worked at a property management company. And I said, "Oh yeah," and he goes, "Yeah, I had to get tenants out because they didn't pay the rent, or always excuses of, well, I had to go and get a pedicure." Yeah, like always excuses. I go, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah." And one says, "Well, I had to go and get a pedicure, and I had to go and buy this and buy that, and oh, I'm sorry, I don't have enough money for my rent." Okay, well, yeah, there comes down to a responsibility of taking care of what your priorities are first. First,
Mhm.
foremost, you pay your rent, right? And if
Yeah,
you, I mean, if you, as long as you got enough money, right? I mean, if you got enough money, you got the means, pay your rent. Then,
yeah,
then go and take care of the things if you can go and do all
yeah.
these things. And that's about prioritizing it. And so he goes, I was one of those badass managers. I said, that's funny because I'm gonna doing a podcast and we call it Bad Landlords. He goes, well, just always think what I said to you. I'm a badass manager. I was.
Yeah. Well, that's that.
Yeah,
There is a difference. There
yeah.
is a
But he
difference.
he said
Yeah.
there are bad managers
Hmm.
because I basically gave the person a break for a little bit, and then I got to a point where I said no, like you have to pay your rent. Um, and of course, my boss came down on me and said that wanted me to flip a units over so that they can make more money. And I went, oh, so he finally he says, I no, I can't do that. I don't feel comfortable with that. That's very
Hmm.
unethical to do that. And so he quit. He quit. He lived out in oh, what is that out in there's an area out in Abbotsford. There's another district out there. It's basically on the north end of Abbotsford. I don't know all the areas the
Just
different
call it the Twilight Zone.
it's a twilight zone. But anyway, yeah, there's different districts. It's like Langley have different districts too.
Yeah.
You got Brookswood, Fern Ridge, we got
Yeah.
Walnut Grove.
Is
So
it?
yeah, anyway, he was out there and he says, I worked for a corporate company, and I said, which one? He goes, I don't, yeah, I'm not here to flame them. I'm just here
Mhm.
to let you know that there are some bad management companies that are not exactly the best ethical, like up and up. Um,
Mhm.
they they mislead people to make them believe that they can rent there, and they're not discriminatory. And that's kind of where I'm taking off from at that point of what that person said to me. But based on lived experience, I can tell you
Mhm.
that there are a huge amount, okay, and I haven't come across every single one yet, but this is going back where we stumbled, myself and Sonia stumbled across this situation back when we lived in Nanaimo. We had moved to Nanaimo at the time, and just a bad experience living at a place at a building, which was just not good overall. Let's just put it that way. Um, bug infested. I mean, we had bed
Yeah.
bugs in there, and it was terrible. It was terrible. So it was. I don't even like to relive it too much, but I don't mind talking about it to people when they ask. Um, but we had to move to Nanaimo at the time. It was just a bad situation all around. But we came across a management company that we thought, hey, there was an ad out there. Let's go and take a look. And they said, yeah, I'm sorry, we're not going to get the rent to you. Why is that? Your income, well, first of all, your income's not high enough, but we don't rent
Yeah.
people with disabilities. Well, why is that? I can't change who I am. And
Mhm.
Sonia's mom was right there at the time. I said, I can't change who I am. I'm sorry that I can, if I can magically make my disability disappear, is that what you want? I don't know. Like, and it was just a first place that we went to go and see, and her mother
Yeah.
drove us around to places, and let's go and see who's, we can go and talk to a manager. And so the manager came out and talked to us, and Sonia's mom said, well, would you rent to me though? I'm a senior. Would you rent to me though?
Mhm.
Um, well, I mean, what's your income level at? Well, she didn't. The manager didn't know that Sonia's mom. They own their own place,
Mhm.
but she wanted to make it look like maybe she was going to rent. Well,
Mhm.
as long as your income is at a certain level, then we'll consider it. Okay, but
Mhm.
their income is actually less than mine. Oh, well, yeah, well, we still wouldn't do it. It has to be at a certain level. So
Mhm.
we exposed it to the media right away, and media was buzzing all over us. Well, no, this must be an isolated situation.
Mhm.
I wouldn't leave the scenario alone. I gave contact information. So anyway, the media started talking to their head office. Well, they denied it. So we figured, okay, it was what maybe an isolated thing. We'll just leave it alone. Time went on, years went by, Neil. So we were back in our hometown. We finally moved back to Langley. Um, and we moved into a place. It was an older building, but it was nicely located. Let's put
Mhm.
it that way. It was just, but the living condition, again, from a corporate landlord,
Mhm.
um, was just not exactly the best living situation. There was a lot of activity going on. I didn't realize there was a lot of organized crime that was going on in the community.
Yeah.
That was really when it started really taking off, like pretty bad. They would show up in our driveway.
Well, your landlord was part of the organized crime.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so
Yeah.
it really blossomed, really like
Yeah.
not good. So again, we kind of looked at it as bad landlords because, like, yeah, like start flipping units over just so you can make a profit. But again, of course, again, the government said, well, this is the amount going forward. This is
Yeah,
the
and
amount
and
going
and the
forward.
reason why I know it's a thing, Brent, I mean, I know, like, I've never actually rented from anybody other than my parents.
Yeah.
Back when I used to live in Langley, I was renting from my parents.
Hmm.
So I don't have that experience that you do, but what I will say is, like, I have, 12 years experience now, having to dive deep into, like, the BC Human Rights Tribunal stuff, right?
Hmm.
And because of my clawback situation. But as a result of diving into all that,
Hmm.
I also found out uh, by attending Zoom meetings
Hmm.
from the what is it, the now I'm gonna the commissioner, the human rights commissioner. I attended one of the Zoom meetings from the human rights commissioner here in BC, and she was talking all about that source of income.
Hmm.
I alluded to that on the last podcast, but
Yeah.
I wanted to dive a little bit deeper again. She said that source of income is not a grounds for discrimination,
Hmm.
except, and this is the big
Yeah.
except in the grounds of tenancy. So
Ah.
if it were dealing with a situation of tenancy or rent,
Hmm.
and a landlord is discriminating against you and Sonia, for example,
Yeah.
on your source of income,
Yeah.
They're not allowed to do that. That's discriminatory. They're not allowed to do that.
Hmm.
So like that's according to the letter of the law, according to the BC Human Rights Commissioner
Interesting.
and the BC Human Rights Tribunal. They
Mm.
both say that, right? But we
Yep.
all know it goes on anyway. It goes, and the government doesn't seem to care. The government doesn't. It's like, oh, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, and that's the point that at where I was going with the with about that is uh so we were told the amount was going forward. Well, this is the amount from the from a provincial government office. And yeah, you get to any corporate landlord or any management company that you want to rent from, they're not going to claw that off. They're not going to get rid of it. So it really affected our decision making of where we wanted to be. Like we did, we moved there. I mean, I grew up in the community. Sonia remembers it when her grandma and grandpa lived there, so she would go there as a when she was like little and going to visit them all the time. So that was what she was familiar with too, and I was familiar with it because I would go and take the bus downtown, or I'd ride my bike downtown because that was just the place to be, right? Hey, let's go downtown. It'd be great. And there was no homeless people downtown. Nope, would not see one homeless person downtown at all. Not one, not one iota.
Yeah,
Why? Because people had money. They had the resources
yeah.
to that they needed in their life to better their life the best way they could, right?
It
Um,
really has changed a lot,
it has changed way too much.
and I have to say too, people are going to say I pick on Evie, but it really did. It changed exponentially as soon as Evie became premier. I have to say it,
Yeah.
exponentially. It just exploded.
But my neighbor
The
was just telling
it
me
just
that this morning.
exploded. The crime and the neighborhood chaos
Oh, terrible.
and the homelessness, all of it has exploded like exponentially ever since David Eby has been premier. It's like it's been so bad. I
Yeah,
mean, you can say it was bad. It was always kind of bad,
yeah,
like when Horgan was around too.
yeah.
But I'm telling you, it has exploded. Like
It really
literally,
blossomed a lot
it
worse.
really has blossomed. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, the underlying issue, with the bad landlords is a lot of corporate landlords are not wanting to rent to people with disabilities. It really comes down to like when I was saying that exposing out different ones. We came across eight. There's a lot more than that. And why
Mm.
we came across eight of them because I'd be making phone calls of saying, well, where could we rent from? Before we moved to Langley, we were looking at where could we rent from. Just we decided to just check out some other companies. Well, that'd be kind of a neat place to live. Yeah, well, come on in, right? So we'd go in and make an appointment, or I'd phone, and they say, oh, okay, well, first of all, what's your income at?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, no problem. Yeah, they say no problem. You rent to people with disabilities. Oh, absolutely. We don't discriminate. Okay, so this
Yeah.
is my income. Okay, we'll actually jot that down. They didn't actually say that no, we're not going to rent to you. Yeah, okay, that's your
Yeah.
income. Okay, but yes, we rent to people with disabilities. But what the company wasn't saying,
If they make enough money,
yeah,
if they make enough money,
what the company
yeah,
wasn't saying is, yeah, we'll take down the information, but
yeah,
we're not gonna, but we will rent to you with a disability,
yeah.
but we won't rent to you because of your
If you're Rick Hansen and make
yeah.
lots of money, we'll rent to you. Yeah,
And and basically just as an overview, our minds were just boggled. I could not
yeah,
believe what we were hearing. Like one call, another call, seeing
yeah.
people in person, and they're all saying no, 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 no. Another
Yeah.
one wasted our time. We were renting at the last building where we were at in Langley before we moved to Victoria. It wasted not just our time, it wasted our manager's time. Almost 3 weeks of our manager's time. 3 weeks waiting
Hmm.
to hear back from the management company. And I guess they were so embarrassed that they couldn't phone our manager back as a reference. We were stuck in limbo because like we needed to know that do we get the place so that our management company can now put our place up for rent. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
so they can show our unit. we also need to know so we could actually give our proper notice in and relocate because the government decided, well, they chose to take away 125 of the supplement, COVID supplement. And so it left us in a bad situation where with what are we gonna do? We can't afford to keep this place now. Because now we got pushed into another unit that we're gonna be paying more money in rent after our lease agreement was gonna be done. Like it was gonna be even higher.
Yeah.
So we had to make a real quick, awkward decision of what do we do here? So we contacted this company and they said, yeah, we'd love to issue. I said, well, I'd love to have you here. But this is a requirement. You need to have no less than $80,000 per year. The company will go with, they'll go with 60,000 at the bare minimum. We'll make, I
Yeah.
think they might make an exception. So that would be 5,000 a month. Correct. That's the
Yeah.
bare minimum.
Yeah.
Or 5,000. So that's, yeah. So they could probably say for two of you, that would be $2,500 each. I mean, usually it's per person, but I think my boss could probably make an exception. Still at 2,500, we don't even get 2,500. Well, what
Yeah.
do you get? I said, well, we were told by the ministry's office, this is what I'm supposed to show you. And they said that you'll be able to get any place that you want to rent from as long as as you pay your rent on time. I go, well, I always do. Oh, well, there's no problem. So I gave it to the manager. Oh, no. They won't go with that. That's yeah, that's way too low. Can you maybe ask the government to increase your shelter portion or your overall check? I go, well, I said, well, that shelter portion needs to be abolished anyway. Oh, I agree. She says, I mean, 375, oh my God, that's terrible. She said, you can't rent anywhere. I said,
Yeah.
well, not for 375. So how are you going to pay your rent? Well, we pay rent on time. And I said, yeah, like I have no problem paying my rent. She says, okay, but you need a requirement in order to rent here, and it can't be any less than 60,000. That's the bare minimum. My boss would probably argue and say it should be 70. I mean, I can get her to do 60, but your government, but they're gonna have to raise your income up to no less than $2,000 as a bump up. There's no way the government's not going to give us
Yeah.
for our rent portion.
Yeah.
How do you live on your support then? So what, you have to use your support to pay your rent? Yep. The shelter at 375 and then the top up, which is up to the 983. So
Yeah.
that gives you that. Oh my gosh, that is terrible. She
Yeah.
said, so yeah, my boss wouldn't even go for that. So that's what we ran against, that same scenario, not just in Langley, Abbotsford, Nanaimo,
Yeah.
you name it, whole bunch of communities. And again, it wasn't isolated. So I say bad landlords, it comes down to that unit. I mean, at the time, what was it, Sonia? What was it? $1,520, I think it was, or 1,525. And Sonia saw it for that, and the lady says, "Oh, it was actually a little bit more." So Sonia goes, "Well, I saw it for 1,525. Fine. Oh, you know what? I'll give it to you for 1,525, but your income has to be no less than $60,000." I say,
Yeah.
what? Our rent
Well,
right now is more
it
than,
reminds me of I'm going to say something a little bit silly here, but I don't, I can't really care. But those ads for like, say like Crest or Colgate
yeah.
toothpaste, where they say like 4 to 5 dentists agree that
Oh
Colgate
yeah.
toothpaste is the best or whatever. Well, it's kind of like that where you just went to like 10
Yeah.
landlords. And it's like 9 out of 10 landlords agree that you have to have $60,000 income or else we're not going to rent to you.
Yeah.
That's kind of like that, right? It's kind of
Well,
a similar thing where,
well, yeah.
you know,
We were dumbfounded because I mean the manager agreed though. That's the ironic part. She agreed with us though. She says, I don't make the rules. My boss does. And the corporate, they make the rules. But our rent right now, we pay more than 1510. Like we're paying
mhm,
more than that. This is a bonus for us. Like the government will move us here. Your government will move you here? Oh yeah, because the rent is substantially reduced from what we're paying now.
mhm.
Substantially reduced. Well, no, they should just move you. I go, well, no, they say it has to be substantially reduced. Rent is not substantially reduced, sir. It just keeps going up. It doesn't go down.
Yeah.
Oh, I go, but anyway, I said, so you're saying we need $60,000 minimum to rent a place that's 525. Well, that's what she said the price is. And I go, well, you're saying it's more? It was 540 she was asking. I go, well, I said, Sonia saw it for 1525. fine, I'll give it to you that, but you need to have that income.
Mhm.
Well, there's no way the government's going to give us $60,000 to rent. And she goes, well, I want you to live comfortably. I don't want you to have to struggle.
Mhm.
What? Well, as long as we pay our rent, I mean, as long as you get your rent, that's the main thing. I mean, don't worry about it. I don't know who doesn't struggle in life. I mean, oh yeah, people shouldn't have to struggle. So anyway, that's where the conversation left there, and so we end up basically in Victoria, and the government moved us because our rent was substantially reduced. Now that
Word
substantial,
of the day. Word of
yeah,
the
it needs to
day.
be moved out of the equation because rents. And when we talked about this on the last podcast with our guest MJ there, and where I said rents are not substantially reduced. Nowhere in North America are rents substantially reduced. I don't know who came out with that wording because when I mentioned I randomly phoned up a couple management companies recently, and
Mhm.
I said, well, how much is your rent? It's substantially higher than what we pay now here.
Mhm.
So I said to one moving company too, I phoned to a moving company, and the guy says, he started laughing at me. He started laughing. And he knew the
Yeah,
terminology.
if they were drinking coffee, they would just spit their
Yeah,
coffee
the
in your
guy did. He
face.
said
Yeah.
he almost spit his coffee out because he's
Yeah.
actually heard that before. Not
Yeah.
just from, I said, really? He says, yeah, I've actually had people on disability assistance in BC phone us and say, well, can the rate be even lower? Because and because this is the place I'm gonna move to, and so they said they already had inside scoop saying, yeah, the government's terminology, the rent, they won't do it unless the
Mhm.
rent is substantially reduced. So
And there you go back to it's the government
yeah,
is kingpin number one
yeah,
when it comes to bad landlords.
they're causing that problem, even
They're
moving
causing
companies.
that problem. So they're the kingpin number one,
Yeah,
bad landlord causing all the problems.
yeah, because the moving companies are frustrated because it's affecting their business. Is that the one gentleman I talked to, he says it never was that way before. Who changed it? I said, you know what? I don't know because it's been in place since if we ever needed to use a moving company, then it would be there. And the government, how that works, everyone, is that the government will pay for your moving costs if your rent is substantially reduced in BC.
Mhm.
Um, Now, it doesn't matter where it is. Usually, a lot of them will like to go with a flat rate because if you're living on the island, of course, as we know, the notorious wait times for BC ferries, you could get a long sailing wait.
Mhm.
Now, the amount of population here now, it's a lot longer, or you have to hope that the ferries don't break down. I mean, knock on wood, okay? Don't break down because now you got a long wait. So the moving companies like to have a flat rate, and because that way it's better for them, it's better for the customer, it's better all around. But hearing it from them, from moving companies, that they're kind of skeptical of maybe wanting to actually sign some kind of an agreement doing that because unless they know that the client is for sure going to be moving to another place where its rent is cheaper. I mean, it doesn't affect them. I mean, they start going to move you, but they start questioning the government's judgment of why would they even put that terminology in place in the
Mhm.
first place because it makes no sense. And then
Yeah.
I got that from some of the management companies too. And I said, well, moving company said they'll move me unless the rent is substantially reduced. And they looked at me, they said to me on the phone, like, what are you talking about, sir? I mean, what do you mean substantially reduced?
Yeah.
Well, how much is your rent right now? So I told them. Oh, whoa, whoa, okay. Yeah, you might want to stay where you are. Well, no, I said, well, that's the point is that I keep getting rent increases and rent increase and market
Yeah.
rent going up every year. Next year in 2026, it's a 3% increase. This year, current year that we just had was about 3.5, and then it fluctuates every year, so we never know what it's going to go up to. But it gets to a point where your rent keeps going up and up and up, and then government doesn't increase your income
Yeah.
to go along with it, and then the cost of living. So we get really worried. I was
Yeah.
just talking to Sonia off air before we got going the podcast today, earlier today, and she said she's worried. Hmm?
We're gonna have to move to Chilliwack.
She's very worried, everybody.
Hmm.
And rightfully so, because the fact is that if we keep getting a rent increase, where do we cut back? Where do we keep cutting back? Because you can't keep cutting back on your bare service agreements, like say with your
Yeah.
telecommunication companies. Like if you have cable TV or cell phone, you got a solid agreement. Like that's why you sign a 2-year service agreement, especially
Hmm.
cell phones. You can't wiggle worm with them. No, not at
No.
now, TV service, yes, you can to a point. If you sign a certain 2-year service agreement, yes, you can talk to their loyalty department. Well, FYI on that one, Nick, like inside scoop. Yeah, I'll get to that topic in a sec, Sonia. She just reminded me of something to mention on the podcast. But you talk to your service provider, they can do a little bit of work and give you a few credits extra on your account. Maybe that's up to the
Hmm.
loyalty departments. They're through TELUS or Rogers. Those are the two big ones. We used to have TELUS, Rogers, and Shaw, but of course the CRTC federal government allowed Rogers to gobble up Shaw, so now we only have really the two big ones. There's Bell, but I would never deal with them for TV.
Yeah.
But anyway, um, so yeah, it really comes down to that. I found out that unless you re-sign, yeah, they can redo your service agreement. If you say you're already in a service agreement with the telecommunication company, and you say, well, these rates are too high, you can renegotiate. But if they don't give you the credits, you can re-sign while you still are in a service agreement. They'll cancel it. Don't cost to you.
Hmm.
Get it going again. But you have to hope that that promotion at the time is actually something better than you had before. There's only a
Yeah.
certain rock bottom rate, and I know some of the numbers because I
And there's a lot of third-party people
yeah,
that are posing as
as
agents of
as agent,
TELUS,
yes,
and
and
you get screwed over by those people
I
too.
actually had that
Yeah.
happen to me
Mhm.
for
And
when
me too. That's why I mentioned it.
yeah, and it, like I
Yeah.
was supposed to get service,
Yeah.
and somebody canceled my service at the time,
Hmm.
and but the service agreement was already still in place. The service agreement was still in
Yeah.
place, and they canceled the service. So according to
Yeah.
TELUS, guess what? You cancel your service agreement. And then you have to go and argue, going, well, no, I didn't
Yeah.
get.
And I told you, Brent, I had a third-party guy who said he was representing TELUS,
Mhm.
and he said I can get you this great rate. And he ended up canceling the service, and then remember I told you on the
Yeah.
on my record he said this customer has is moving from has moved from relocated from Alberta to BC, and so then I actually had a legitimate TELUS guy call me, and he says, "Well, according to records, it says you've come from Alberta and you're relocating into BC,
Oh my.
so
Yeah.
that's why you're starting with a new service plan." And I said, "That's a lie." And the guy from TELUS kept pushing back and says, "Well, it says right here on you." And I'm like, I says, I was dealing with a third party person. I shouldn't have, but I said that's a lie." And he kept pushing back, and eventually I got mad at it. I hung up on the guy. But I think a
Yeah.
couple weeks later they called me back again and they cleared it up.
Hmm.
But he was convinced that what he saw on the record was legit, and it
Hmm.
was a complete lie.
Yeah,
And
yeah, and
yeah.
yeah, that's the problem is there's a lot of scammers out there
Hmm.
representing a lot of big corporations, banks, you name it. And I mean, police stations. Apparently, police stations. People are phoning up pretending they're the cop, and in the area where we're doing a community watch, and program or launching it. Could we just
Hmm.
verify your name? And so that, yeah, they're trying to gather up information so we can just verify who you are. Can you just confirm your address? Yeah, like
Hmm.
scary stories.
Yeah.
But getting back to like like some of the corporate landlords, like where we rent from, we are really getting concerned and worried because like you can't keep negotiating with TELUS. Like I was even told by TELUS, like we have already given you rock bottom rate as much as we can. There's a
Hmm.
little bit more wiggle room that we might be able to do if need be. But they have their profit margin too. Like the companies have a
Mhm.
profit margin, and that
Yeah.
the consumers can only get so much. Like they have to pay so much, right?
Mhm.
I know a little bit of that because I had a family friend who used to work for the telecommunication company one time. So
My
he
dad
told,
did too. Yeah.
yeah, so he told me a little bit more like how that works, and then he was right. Like he's when I'm hearing from somebody else, a source within TELUS, or it used to be BC Tel at one time,
Yeah.
and a family friend who worked for BC Tel. Yeah, it was amazing. Like if I wanted a phone and if I wanted a phone in my bedroom, I got a phone in my bedroom. Oh, one in the washroom, one in the
Yeah.
kitchen.
Same with my dad. He worked for BC Tel,
Yeah,
and
everywhere.
he started as a pole climber.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. Like so like my mom's house was just wired up. Every single room had a phone, right?
Yeah.
So it was just amazing. But anyway, I guess my point is that you can only get the best deal that you can get. But if the government's not keeping up their legal responsibility of taking care of their own citizens, I
Mhm.
mean, it's bad enough taking away a disability pension and turning it into a pink unicorn and making it, means tested,
Income
uh,
tested. Yeah.
income tested of the last resort. You know,
Mhm.
it's very degrading. Where because
Well,
now,
and I wanted to get back to I don't know. You said you had a comment from Sonia, so I'll
yeah,
let you get to that. But
yeah,
I wanted to quickly before you do that, I wanted to quickly mention that we have Peter Cunnington in chat,
mm.
and he mentioned about again about the I just want to go back, circle back a little bit because he mentioned about the spousal cap.
Oh
You know
yes,
that the provincial government here has been promising
oh
we're going
yeah,
to get rid of the disposal cap,
yeah.
and
This
and
fall,
and last time Sheila Malcolmson gave her speech at that rally, which was what that was back in the
end of
summer,
May,
right?
end of May of
End of May, so before summer.
yeah, the
She
BC
gave that
legend.
speech and she said we're going to get rid of the disposal cap. Well, when is that going to happen? Like
Yeah,
5 years, 10 years, 15 years from now? When?
yeah,
Right?
yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? It's
Yeah.
great having all these splashy announcements, but talk is great, but action
Hmm.
are better results.
Yeah.
It's like raising the rates.
We're
Uh,
gonna do it. We don't
more
know
to
when, but we're gonna
do,
do it.
more to do when the
Yeah.
fiscal situation allows. Oh, baby
Yeah.
steps, all these magic words. Oh, now there's the new word. We learned something new today, everyone. Oh, the headwinds.
Headwinds. Yeah.
Headwinds. That's a new
If
word.
the headwinds allow.
Yeah. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
throw that into our vocabulary. We learned a new
Yeah.
word today. Headwinds, everyone.
Yeah.
I could see the government choosing not to raise the rates again next year.
I
I,
think
crystal ball.
every time there should be a new bar game.
Hmm.
Every time David Eby or another BC politician says headwinds now,
Yeah.
uh, we should all have to take a drink,
Yeah.
like to take a shot.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Head,
if we were
headwinds.
forced if we were forced to do that, like everybody on disability we would be blitzed out of our minds
Oh yeah.
because it would be headwinds this, headwinds that, and
Yeah.
we would be blitzed after like the first hour. We'd
Oh
all
my
be
God.
walking around with, drunk out of our skull,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's the problem is that government love to talk, but action or better results, right, that come out of it. I mean, splashy announcements. Oh, I hear you. Yeah, there's more to do. Yeah, we're going to eliminate. I remember way back when. Oh yeah, we're going to eliminate the shelter portion out of the equation. Yeah, we're going to do it because that's what I want to do. Nothing ever happens. It's all like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's a great idea. Let's shelve it up on that shelf for now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna take 8 of you to rent an apartment. Yeah, no, the government's never gonna raise the rates to $2,000 for shelter. But you're gonna get rid of the word shelter. Well, that's what I want to do is get rid of the word shelter out of it. Yeah, again, it's always reasons why not to. But I think that the
It
minister,
almost sounds like a joke, doesn't it? It's like
yeah,
it almost like it's so bad. It's like you're telling a joke of like, three people walk into a bar
yeah,
and it's like but bump.
yeah,
It's that bad. It's that bad where you're reciting what the government policy is on like we haven't even touched on BC housing and we're already at the end of the podcast. But I mean, there's so much bad policy again, making where I'm pointing the finger at the government, the provincial
Yeah.
government, as being the primary bad landlord in
Mhm.
BC housing. There's so many bad policies,
Oh,
and
there's tons.
it comes across like a bad joke. Like
Well,
you
the
just
part
want to
that
keep saying ba-dum bump, ba-dum bump, ba-dum bump, you
yeah,
know?
the part that really infuriates me is with the government always excuses not wanting to raise rates. Um, I mean, and this is no joke. Like 2 years in a row, because last time they raised the shelter only to some people in the market housing, and I need to emphasize that not all PWD persons with disabilities in BC got the 125 increase in 2023, and that was in end of July. It was for August check. It was for August check because it's always 1 month ahead. So in your
Yeah.
July check in 2023, some people got a 125 increase. But if you rented from a place that was a basement suite or any kind of accommodation market housing, if your manager or owner decided not to give you a rent increase that year, well, guess what? You didn't get the 125 increase. You had to prove
Mhm.
that your rent went up. Well, most people in market housing, your rent went up because, I mean, managers they want to collect that extra money every year. They're supposed to be putting that money into fix ups of your place and maintain it. Some, like I say, bad landlords. Some bad landlords they don't do that. They want to
Mhm.
pocket that money away so they can go on a nice, beautiful holiday. I know. I had a bad landlord who did that. Who admitted to me. I said, "Well, this rent increase." Well, why are you not fixing things up? Well, because I actually pull the money away when you get that increase. I pull it away and I go on a nice vacation. Well, wow, okay, so that's a bad landlord, right?
Yeah.
There's good ones who will put that money in to maintain their building to the best they can.
Yeah.
My point is that um, when it comes down to not raising the rates, our manager, we have a bunch of managers here, but one of them was disgusted that in 2 years in a row we didn't get an increase in the so-called shelter portion. It's still your
Mhm.
whole check. Like when you pay your rent, your rent is your rent, and it
Yeah.
goes way above that shelter portion
Yeah.
anyway. So
Yeah.
my manager said to me, "You just pay your rent out of your main check, Brent. It's your check. That shelter is
Mhm.
included." It's such a terminology. I go, right, but if I don't have an address, if I wasn't living here, I wouldn't get that shelter portion. Are you kidding me? Are they still stuck in that narrative? She said,
Yeah.
I used to actually rent from BC Housing many years ago, Brent. I mean, many.
And
And
here's the word of the day, which you haven't really gone back to,
yeah,
but that is discrimination, isn't it?
it is
That
discrimination.
is discrimination, and that goes back to the word on the not
Yeah,
on the thumbnail, but on the title today.
yeah. And
Is
and
like, are landlords being discriminatory? They
yeah,
are. They
yeah, and that's
are.
why our manager is like really disappointed. And I said, well, I wonder if they're going to do it next year. She goes, oh, I wouldn't count on them raising your rates next year because they're going to have an excuse. What? She goes, oh, they'll have an excuse. They always have an excuse, Brett. When was the last time they raised your support portion? I go, 4 years ago. Right. And your shelter? I go, 2 years ago. Right. They always have an excuse. So now they're going to say headwinds, Brent. Headwinds.
Headwinds. Yeah.
It's the new word,
Take
headwinds.
a drink. Take a drink.
And if it wasn't headwinds, they would have found another catchphrase to as an
Yeah.
excuse. All they're doing is copying and pasting, juggling money out.
Yeah.
So that increase you got she said when you moved here, I go, yeah, okay. That increase that you had and you got that increase. I go, I didn't get that increase before I moved here. Okay, I said it was when we were living in Langley. Okay, yeah, that would have been from the COVID supplement. Okay, but when did they raise the rates in the budget? I go, oh geez, that would have been in 2019. Okay,
Mm.
so they actually technically didn't raise in the actual budget, the BC budget, they didn't raise your
Mm.
guys' rates since 2019. I go, no, not since then. Nothing in 2020 because that's when COVID, the supplement came out
Yeah.
until 2021. And then they took away, I told her, they took away the 125. They gave it
Yeah.
back to some people in market housing.
Yeah.
And 2 years later, why would they do that? I go, like I said to her, that's why I explained to you why we end up having to move here.
Mhm.
If they hadn't done that, you would have still been in Langley. Bingo. Yeah, maybe in a different place. I mean, guaranteed we would have been in a different place because we end up having to move to a different unit in our building that was much higher rent, like much higher. And we knew we couldn't economically do that. So we were looking around. So that's kind of where that's kind of where things are at. Government's decisions, poor decisions can have a huge impact on people's lives. But here's the icing on the cake here. A lot of corporate landlords and management companies, different ones, doesn't matter which one it is, are requiring you as a tenant to have tenant insurance. If you do not have tenant insurance, that was Sonia's question.
Okay, I was
Wanted
going to
me
say,
to implement it in here.
Yeah.
Is that it's mandatory. It's not an option. Like they want to see it. If they don't see it, they will not rent to you. And we were joking around where we were renting a place in Langley, and the manager, she was a pretty feisty one, and that's the one where we lost our unit. Yeah, no fault of ours. We got pushed to a more expensive unit. That's why we ended up having to move to Victoria because COVID supplement got taken away, part of it. And John warned us about some snaky, corporate landlords. He says, be careful. There's some really shady ones out there, and they're pretty snaky. He said, I still remember, he goes, pretty snaky and shady. I go, snaky and shady. I'll remember that, John. He goes, doesn't that kind of rhyme? Snaky and shaky, Brent? Shady? I go, yeah. He goes, but his key word of the day was squirrel it away. Sonia says, squirrel it away. Squirrel what away? Well, the 175 of the 300, because we're going to be taking away 50 or 75, percent of it. Oh, yeah. She goes, well, I can't because our rent's higher. Yeah, but your rent is not a little bit higher than where you were renting before. Hindsight, John didn't know what the corporate landlord's plans was. Is that our rent was higher. Yeah. He said, squirrel that away, the difference of the profit that we were making. Because it was there. He didn't know that we'd be paying the rent much higher at the same building. Like he didn't know that we were going to be losing our unit, having to go into a more expensive unit. He would have lost it if he would have known that one. But he just said, be careful. And I said to him, they're requiring tenant insurance. Well, yeah, I guess, that's, I think, something that they're kind of looking at doing now. Some of them, he had heard a little bit about that, but he didn't know a lot in detail.
And you can understand why, honestly.
Yeah, but he says, yes, we said, you understand the reason why that they're asking that because liability, right? And I said, I get it. I said, that's another expense. He goes, well, there you go. You got this supplement that you guys are all taking care of. You got that money. I guess my point is that money, $300 that we had, it really made a huge difference. Media asked us what would happen if they took it away. Well, Sonia said, well, we have to make some rash decisions, having to move. I said, yeah, I wouldn't be able to buy nutritional food, their supplements. Sonia said same thing for her diabetes. She would
all over again.
She would have to sacrifice healthy food. Same thing. We would have to move. Tenant insurance that would paid for it. And now guess what? It's like it's been a
Our
rate.
cheap rent is finally catching up.
Our cheap rent. If everybody heard that, because I'm just kind of paraphrasing what she's saying to me. It's hard to try to memorize everything that she's saying. But basically, moral of the story is our cheap rent that we had, because it was substantially reduced from what we were paying in Langley, is now catching up slowly to what we were paying in Langley.
To what you were paying before,
because the government didn't increase our rates to match that cost.
Yeah.
So now, guess what? We may have to move. Again, what was it, Sonia? We may have to move.
Again.
Yeah, to where?
Chilliwack.
Out to Chilliwack.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to do that, right? But the rent is cheaper. Transit is accessible. Okay, I must say, it is accessible within the community. I don't know a lot about it. I've ridden certain buses there. If you are local, it's great. I guess you just have to time things up. It's not, when I say it's accessible, it's there when you need it. Maybe not as accessible on the timings. I guess my point is that I know that it's not the kind of transit that we have in Victoria, that it's like every 10, 15 minutes. In some cases, every 3-4 minutes, and when it's rush hour. There, you're looking at probably an extra hour, half hour to an hour, depending on the route. Some routes are even longer than that. But if we're local, and it's, within walking distance. You can get a delivery service. I mean, we'd be able to afford to get, what's it, Instacart. Could probably get Instacart and get them to deliver because our rent would be cheaper.
Yeah,
Now,
with us too, because it'll be cheaper rent yet again.
again, the government would move us. Here's the thing. The
Mhm.
government would move us because our rent would be substantially reduced.
Yeah.
Again, here's the problem. If the government can't legally take the responsibility to take care of their citizens and not
But
raise
again,
the
we're a
rates,
community
guess
where
what happens? The rent goes up. And then guess
Mhm.
what? Where are you going to move to then? It's not going to be substantially reduced from Chilliwack.
Yeah.
You got to keep
Yeah.
moving again and
Yeah.
again
you
and
have to
again.
be in a place where you don't want
And
to
then
be
you
in.
don't want to be in a community,
Yeah.
a place that you don't want to be in. Like Langley, it's the place to be.
Yeah, and we again, Brent, we are at the end of the show now, so
Yeah.
we can wrap up. I got a song in my head.
Uh,
It's like how is it gonna go? We are landlords from low places, and if you don't show us the money, we'll slam the door in your faces because we are landlords from low places, right? I just had that in my head. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that. Yeah. That's great. Oh, that kind of goes with the theme of today's show. And I guess to my closing comments on that, I love that tune. That's great. But I guess my closing comments on it is, we're really worried, right? Because the government, just have the excuses. It doesn't affect their lives because I mean, we pay the MLAs to do their job. They're not doing their job. It's because they're okay with the status quo with the policy.
They have $60,000 more money,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
and they're not doing their job.
Yeah, and there's a lot of them are corporate landlords too. Like a lot of them are MLAs and MPs and MPPs. They are corporate landlords, and I always wonder, well, gee, like who is the corporate landlord who actually owns my building? Is it an MP? Is it an MLA? Like
Yeah.
nobody will say. Like I can talk to my management. They'll just say, oh, the owner gets their slice of the pie. The majority.
I think Christy Clark is probably the landlord of like 12 buildings or
Well, I wouldn't
something.
be surprised, if I
Yeah.
found all of a sudden, oh, by the way, it was your former premier that owns your building. Oh,
Yeah.
I'll go. Oh, there
Like
goes
not just
Christie.
one, like 12 of them probably.
Yeah, I'll be like, oh, there goes Eric Christie.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I guess, and so I guess the that's why a lot of them they don't want to bite the hand that feeds them because holding corporate landlords to account. I mean, my gosh, that means they'd be having to hold themselves to account. And I just want to make sure people have affordable housing, housing that works good for them, accessible housing, something and just so that is all not one size fits all, but based on the person's needs. Make sure they have adequate amount of income to actually keep up with their rent, because you're going to displace more people. We got the UBCM, like our guest that we're supposed to be on today, and we're kind of filling in on that.
Yeah.
Until
Yeah.
he's on next week, but he's at the UBCM today all
Yeah.
week. Actually, it's a 5-day event.
Which is a bringing
Victoria.
together of all of the local governments
Yep.
to talk about kind of the state of affairs.
Yeah.
And
all the
and I
mayors.
think the big ticket item on for this year is street disorder, right? That's the big ticket item is street disorder. It's a mess. It's a mess now.
It is a real mess.
It's a
Disgusting
real
it
mess.
be the way it is.
Yeah.
All the mayors across British Columbia are going to be in Victoria at the UBCM all week. It's a 5-day event. And outgoing Green Party leader Sonia Furstenau is going to be there as one of the speakers. The Conservative Party for BC, John Rustad, he's going to be there. David Evy's going to be there. Premier of British Columbia, giving his final, I guess, his comments. For the UBCM also. Yeah, you're right, Neil. The street disorder is a complete mess. I've never in my life seen a province in such disarray of people that are like so many people that are homeless. They're on the streets. They don't know where they're going.
It's literal chaos. It's
It
literal
is.
chaos out there. Yeah.
Yeah, You know,
Yeah.
and like one of my neighbors, I don't see him as much often here as I used to. Every so often I'll bump into him. There's a couple of them. And there was one older gentleman, I think he passed away, to be honest.
Mm.
Sonia and I, we used to see him all the time. We'd walk around the block and he would talk, and he'd kind of walk along, all of a sudden he'd stop. He'd like, it's like a cat. It's like stop, and he'd see like the light, their eyes go, like, it's like, and like he would stop and he'd look at us. Oh, it's you two. Oh, he said, have you worn out your shoes yet? Because boy, you walk a lot. But I found out that he actually worked in Parliament. He worked in BC. He
Mm.
worked for Ottawa in the as a parliamentary. And he knew his stuff. I talked to him anytime. He'd be like an encyclopedia. I'd
Yeah.
ask him a question, Neil, and everybody, and he always had the answer. Why is housing the way it is? Because it's been deliberately set that way. It's distorted. It's deliberately set
Mm.
that way. And
Yeah.
they said the policymakers can change it. It's all policy. Everything is policy, Brent.
Mm.
Everything. I mean, a leader of whatever party may be in BC, he didn't pick on any of them. He just says, it,
You're right about it being all policy, but
yeah,
the problem is when you keep building, putting crap upon crap upon
yeah,
crap
that's
of
what he said.
bad policy,
Yeah,
it gets harder and harder and harder to undo
yeah.
all of that crap, right? So
Plus, he said it's
now
embedded.
they're all swimming in crap,
Yeah, he said it's
and
embedded. He says it's embedded
and
policy.
and and like, how do you start to undo it now? I mean,
You have to
there,
make a
there,
whole
there
new.
was a time and place where you could have undone it, but they just kept piling on the crap, and it's like, well, we'll get to it later, like let's put more crap on this,
He said there's a new
rather than
system has
fix
to
it.
be.
And now it's kind of almost beyond the state of fixing it now.
But don't worry, that supercomputer will
Yeah,
take care of it. And
yeah,
the supercomputer will take care of it. And
yeah. And there'll be no more spousal cap either. Yeah.
yeah, and it's almost that time,
Oh, well,
everyone.
that's what you're waiting for, Brent. I know you're waiting for the
Oh, it's
11:11.
almost that time. 11:10 a.m. everybody, and 11:36 a.m. will be the first day of official fall. Yeah, wherever you are in the country or around the world, it's wherever fall may
Do
fall
you
for you.
remember the 22nd day of September? We'll be dancing the night away.
Almost that time,
Oh,
everyone.
oh, there you go. Time to sign
Hey,
off, Brent.
yeah, time to sign up. 11:11. I want to thank everyone for tuning in and listening to our segment about bad landlords and ranting and raving. I know some people actually say they love that segment, so we'll have to bring it back another day.
We'll do another one, yeah.
Yeah, and very, very soon on that one, will be rant and rave. It was almost like the Breaking with Brent segments, kind of
What are we gonna do on Friday? What are
on
we gonna do
Friday.
on Friday?
Yeah, Monday, Tuesday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Friday. Yeah,
Friday, Friday.
yeah. Anyway,
We'll talk about.
we'll figure it out. We'll figure
We'll
it out.
figure it out. But if you want to be a guest on the show or anybody, reach out to us and we'll
I
get.
have been reaching out, but I guess everybody's shy.
Yeah, there's some people that I do know that do want to come on, but they're a little bit shy, camera shy.
Yeah.
But remember, we can always work with that situation
Yeah.
part with you. No problem. If you don't want to be on camera, we can actually
You could just
work with
hide
that.
your face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you don't want your actual real name on there, we can actually abbreviate that too. Just to
Yeah.
tell your story. I mean, talk to us. Let us know, how things affect your life. What do you want to see changed? How, like for yourself and maybe for the disability community around as a whole. Why basically, where do you see things at? So many different scenarios, and it's not just it's family members. It's a whole ripple effect of decision making that governments do. It actually has a whole spiral effect, and it can be changed. But again, yeah, like it's these policies, like you mentioned, it embeds on top, and it becomes a big crisis and beyond a crisis. And how do we fix it?
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
I mean, it has gotten to the point where it's almost not fixable now.
yeah,
And
yeah,
again, I
couple
have
months
to say,
after it's
I
actually
have to say it. Like, it's gotten so bad ever since EV took over, and like, people can people can lunge at me all they want, but I mean that's the truth. That's the truth. It's gotten so bad.
I've seen it. I've seen the downtown Victoria degraded so bad. Businesses, small businesses shutting their doors that used to be open. I mean, 7-Eleven, for God's sake. I mean, my gosh, like you go in there and grab a cup of coffee on you're waiting for a bus to go, say, out to the ferry. Yes, right there. It's like you should just go walk in there, go and grab it, and then take it, and then or hot chocolate, whatever you want, right? And or you're watching a parade, the Victoria Day parade. I mean, 7-Eleven is right there. You just go in and grab some kind of muffin or whatever. You're sitting in a lawn chair or sitting on the sidewalk watching the parade go by. It was so convenient. It got shut down. Why? Because it got ransacked too many times. Insurance claims went right through the roof. They just could not deal with it. Their lives were put at risk. Also, I heard. I'm like, oh, from one of the other merchants told me that it got at knife point, gunpoint. It was bad. So I mean, people who worked there, I mean, they were scared. They wouldn't even show up for work. They just said no, they're not coming in.
Yeah.
I mean, is that
And
how
you can't blame them. You can't blame them.
exactly? And then the cities say, well, yeah, there's more to do. Yeah, we recognize there's a problem, but we all provincial governments, they need to get on board, and federal government. You know what? We need you all on board. Work together here.
Yeah.
And that's,
Yeah.
I guess, my point is that even
Figure it out. Figure it out because
comes
it's a
down to-
mess. It's a mess now.
and that comes down to our rates too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, stop doing the blame game. Stop pointing to the federal government. Oh, we're waiting on the CDB. You knew damn well. I told you guys from day one when they came out with the CDB.
You
way
knew it
back-
was going to be a train wreck.
right back in Twitter Spaces. Like,
Yeah.
and we had politicians on, and someone said,
Everybody was saying it was going to be a train wreck, and I was kind of one of those
Yeah.
ones that was willing to give it the benefit of the doubt.
yeah,
I was actually willing to give it the benefit of the doubt, but the more it kind of dragged on, it's like, you know what? It is going to be a train wreck. It is going to be a train wreck.
I remember you and I were talking about that even on
Yeah.
the Twitter space back
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
People, and somebody said, Brett, how could you say that? I said, I had that gut feeling. I said, I want to be cautiously optimistic, but at this
Yeah.
point, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then Sonia actually came out. I think I was doing a show, and I was like, what are you saying? Like, it's kind of like when it's like a whole bunch of voices are coming at you, and you're trying to memorize everything. It's like, God.
Yeah.
But she said, I will believe it when it's in my bank account. And
Yeah.
and I always stuck in my mind that, and even to this day,
And I don't qualify, and you don't qualify, and so many people don't qualify.
Yeah.
So guess what? The money's not going to come in my bank account. Even if I wait for it, it's not going to come.
But the provincial government believed it though. They
Yeah.
believed it. Yeah.
You're all suckers. You're all suckers.
And we called it out way back when.
You're all suckers for believing it.
Yeah. But you basically raise the rates, take care of the citizens, work together, stay as government, stop pointing fingers. Okay, like it's not going to be that good anymore. It's not a good look, right? John Horgan even taught me that way back when. Brent, don't do the blame game. Well, the Liberals, when they were in power, blah blah blah. Because then the Liberals say, well, the current government, when they're in power, he says, you got to hold me accountable. So when I'm not leader anymore, eventually, and when he said it to me, I had a feeling. What he was trying to tell me was that his time was going to be coming near, but I think he knew, but he didn't want to make it public. But he says, eventually I won't be leader, and whoever is leader, you got to hold them accountable. You hold me accountable while I'm still leader and government. He says, I can be in opposition. I can tell you whatever I want you to hear. Right. But even when I get into government, he says, and now you still hold me accountable. And it doesn't matter. He says, who's in government? They got to work together. And his key thing is he wanted more of them to work together. And here we are. They're still doing the blame game. Well, we raised the rates 5 times. We did more than the other previous government. Again, it's the blame game. Like, stop the blame game. It's not working. Work together. So anyway.
But you know what, Brent? We gotta, the old movie from the 70s, the Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, Robert Redford just passed away just recently.
Yeah,
and that's one of the movies I love because it was him and Paul Newman, right? And it was a great movie, and they're all like hunched there, and then it fades to black. So we're gonna be Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and we're gonna fade to black right now, Brent.
We're gonna fade right out. I want to thank everyone for tuning in today. Hope you enjoyed today's show. Again, stay tuned to Friday's show. We don't know what it be
We
yet.
don't know what it is. We don't know what it is yet. We don't know what it is yet.
It could
But-
be anything.
But
So,
we do
yeah.
know, hopefully that Rob Shaw will be on that. That's the plan. That's the plan. He will be on this coming Monday now, barring any other work assignments. I mean, of course, he gets paid for his work assignments, so he has to show up for work. We don't get paid for this, so
Yeah.
we're not as tied to tight schedules as Rob Shaw is. So we're hoping that Rob Shaw can be fine for next Monday, but we'll see.
Yeah, and if you want to be a sponsor for our show,
Yeah.
well, if you love our show, reach out to us. We'd love to have a sponsor for our show.
We would.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it really helps to enhance it in so many ways. We can expand our show in many ways. We could actually start getting mugs out to people.
Mugs and T-shirts.
Mugs and T-shirts. And that was
Tote bags.
Yeah, there was brought. That was our last show. There was an idea that was brought up to about T-shirts. Well, but in order to do that, we need to have sponsors to actually help us to do that and get the narrative out there. Would you love to?
I'm gonna reach out to Trisha again and see, because
Yeah.
she had a few other mugs. So I'm gonna see if she's willing to part with a few other mugs and do a few more for us. And then we'll come up with a plan to maybe try to mass produce a small little bit. But we'll see. I have to talk to her more about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That'd be great. If if people's appetite is that you'd love to have the opportunity of having one of the mugs, stay tuned and we'll give you another announcement of where things are going to go with that. If you would like to see shirts, any other merchandise that we could come up with, let us know. I mean, would you like to have a cap? Do you like to have a cap or a shirt? Small, medium, large, extra large. I mean,
how about boxers? Boxers.
Yeah, hey, there you are. Yeah, you name it. Hey, socks. Hey, we could probably get some socks.
There you
Like
go.
those. But thanks. We'll talk more on that on Friday's show for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cheers, everyone.
Yeah, have a great day, everyone.